Many of us in America grew up with a fair-skinned, flaxen-haired image of Jesus.
But Jesus came from Judea, so what did he actually look like?
Happy holidays, everyone. Julia and Trace here for DNews. It's that time of year again where billions of people around the world celebrate the birth of the Christian prophet Jesus. From stained glass glowing in church windows to nativity scenes sprawled across suburban lawns, images of Jesus are hard to miss. But how close to reality is what we see?
Since the Bible doesn't explicitly describe Jesus' appearance, no one really knows what he looked like. The earliest images researchers have found are from at least 200 years after he died, so it's pretty much left to artists' interpretation.
Right. Early Christians allegorically portrayed Jesus as a young good shepherd to hide his identity since Christianity was forbidden. In the 3rd century, he appeared like the Greek god Helios, and later on he takes on a more serious look called the Pantocrator with long hair and a beard. But the most familiar Jesus appeared during the Renaissance, when artists started to show Jesus' human side like Rembrandt, and that's how we see him today.
But rather than art, anthropology can tell us a bit about what he could have looked like for real. For example, in most depictions of Jesus, he has long hair, but that's not entirely accurate according to physical anthropologist Josias. Jewish men around the time of Jesus' life had short hair as a way to distinguish themselves from Romans and other groups. Using anthropological knowledge from excavations of Jerusalem, forensic anthropologist Richard Neve, a medical artist retired from the University of Manchester in England, created a mock-up of what Jesus maybe looked like.
Neve spent his career recreating ancient faces, and a study published in the journal Forensic Science, Medicine, and Pathology showed that 67% of features like nose, eyes, jawline, forehead, and chin could be reconstructed only from the data gleaned from skulls. The mouth and ear shape, however, are basically up for artistic interpretation, according to a study published in the Journal of Anatomy.
He compiled 3 different skulls found in Jerusalem that date from the time of Jesus. Using 3D scanning technology, Neve and his team were able to capture the fine details of the surface of those skulls.
While yes, everyone has the same basic number of bones and muscles, small variations in the shape, size, and relative positions of facial muscles changes from person to person.
And the way these muscles attach to the skull leaves details in the bone. To reconstruct this face, forensic anthropologists used a computer algorithm to find out the thickness and placement of those facial muscles. From there, they could tell the typical distance from skull to muscle.
This is where the artistic license comes in. Once they know the placement and thickness, researchers can add clay onto 3D printed reconstructed skulls in an attempt to mimic the look of those muscles. And finally, they'll cover the muscles with a thin layer of clay skin, and details like skin color and eye color were added at the artist's discretion.
Forensic experts do this all the time, in most cases for identification of a deceased victim who is far too damaged or decomposed for a family member to identify. But anthropologists use this technique too to bring back the dead from hundreds or thousands of years ago. This has been done with King Richard III, Mary, Queen of Scots, or a 5,000-year-old Neolithic man. This might just be the closest Jesus we've seen to the real one.
I know, it's not exactly what you were expecting. To be fair, this is really just a recreation of what a typical man who lived during Jesus' time and in the same geographical area might have looked like. And forensic facial reconstruction does take some artistic liberties. But still, Alison Galloway, professor of anthropology at the University of California in Santa Cruz, told Popular Mechanics this is probably a lot closer to the truth than the work of many great masters. Maybe we should learn to be okay that all we have left of Jesus are the stories and the messages he preached.
Just like Jesus practiced a policy of mercy, Pope Francis declared the next year the year of Jubilee of Mercy. To find out more about that, check out this video from our friends over at Seeker Daily, right here.
And this tradition actually dates back thousands of years before Christian times. In ancient Israel, the year of Jubilee marked a time when slaves were let free, property was returned to its rightful owner, and debts were forgiven.
So what do you think Jesus looked like? Or do you have a favorite interpretation from history? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below and keep coming back to DNews so you don't miss a single episode.